everyone, this is Beth, and today we're talking about the Fool. And I've been calling these deep dives to myself because they're kind of a way for me to re-immerse again and go deeper and deeper in to my tarot practice, my tarot study, and thus in turn kind of refresh everything. Because a lot of times I read piecemeal. I do a little here, I do a little there, and it's not necessarily a cohesive process. So I'm using a cohesive process to help me work into deck creation, and part of doing that is looking at various cards, starting with the major arcana, working our way through that, and then I don't know which one we'll go on to then. We'll see how I'm feeling. But yeah, the reminders of things like what planet, Hebrew alphabet, although there is some contention on that at this point in time. I see a lot of people use it. It's difficult in Western magic to get. In Western magic, yeah, you can't get away from early Abrahamic traditions and things like that. So I am going to be including the Hebrew alphabet. I want to say letter in it, just because it is ingrained in the tradition and has been there for a very long time. So I will be talking about that also. So we got the Fool this time. And for some reason I was remembering this one with a dog. He does not have a dog. And this is the Mythic Tarot deck. Mine's the 80s version. I've had it since like 1988 or 89. It was my first deck. My mom gave it to me. She doesn't remember giving me this deck. It's all her fault I started on tarot. I probably would have anyways, but she got me started, so yeah. And by the way, since I got gifted my first deck, you know what? I've had 3 or 4 decks that were given to me. The rest I have bought on my own, and they work perfectly fine. Don't be a theft. It's illegal. Theft is illegal. Don't be a thief. So the Fool. This deck uses, since it's Greek mythology based, Dionysus as its Fool. I was thinking he had a little doggy, but I'm remembering wrong. He doesn't. But he does have several of the symbols. I don't see, well, no, not really water. There's an eagle, which would represent Zeus. And there is the classic going off the cliff with this guy. And the thing about the Fool is he's ruled by the planet Uranus, which is like the Great Awakener. He shakes you up, tosses you all around, gives you new ideas, and sometimes it's a lot of fun, and sometimes Uranus can be like, kind of steamroll you with all that Great Awakening, shaking upping, and you falling on the floor and you don't know what to do. You went off that cliff because you got shook right on off. So it does make a lot of sense that the Fool is equated with Uranus, Cronus, who ate people, ate his children. It's kind of when you think about it, it's kind of a weird pairing because Uranus is no way the Fool. But but the whole shake-up aspect definitely is. So you got that. Hebrew letter is Elf. Elef. I don't know how to speak Hebrew. I've only heard it said in my own head. So it's something I'm aware of, but I don't particularly use in my practice. I'm putting it in there just more so, like I said, dive in deep. There's a whole path working with Kabbalah too that you can do with the major arcana. That's really kind of cool. That's kind of a whole other thing. But Fool is the beginning mind. New to it all. The Fool is kind of the tabula rasa, the blank slate. He's there. He's going to get filled up with all his learnings as he goes on the hero's journey, which we're not going to discuss in this video because that's just a kind of long thing on its own. So we're going to leave that one maybe for a later video if you're interested. If you are interested in the hero's journey, do let me know. Or how you do the path working with the major arcana and the Kabbalah. It's also a very cool thing. So you got beginner's mind, new to it all, willing to learn with no judgment. And dude's just like, teach me, teach me, teach me. Just fill me up with knowledge. And he's not afraid to ask questions and be embarrassed that what if it's a stupid question? The fool's like, what is it? I want to know. Has a very zest for learning and is so willing to dive into it. Now, that said, he can also be naive in his nature. He doesn't have a lot of experience yet. And in some cases, that naivety can cause a problem. So, one thing too for me, the Fool symbolizes it's the start of the journey, but it also reminds us that once we reach the conclusion of that journey, a new one starts all over again. So there are cycles within learning, there are cycles within life, there are cycles, and the Fool's constantly going through those cycles and keeping that beginner's mind as you learn things that you don't know at all, that there's still loads and loads and loads of stuff you will never, ever know. Very fresh-minded. So, what happens when he's not being a good fool? Some people do reversals. I tend not to. But sometimes it's just like the card's like, we're not happy. And who's around the card too can also help. But that's a reading technique. Sometimes it's hard to stay focused on these things because there's so much information. So when this guy's not doing good, he's having a bad day, he's petty, he's careless, he's denying, he is unwilling to learn and pay attention to, he's just going to jump off that cliff despite his nose. He goes, whatever, you told him not to. And he's like, just go, fight me, I'm going and jumping because yeah. So, I'm willing to learn, willfully ignorant, a know-it-all, no attention to detail, doesn't care he's being ignorant, just doesn't care what you say, ignoring you. Smart Marthy would be smart mouth, smart ass kind of energy. That when he's having a bad day, he's just going to jump right off that cliff, and he would probably take you with him if you let him, because he's just not going to care. We often see on this card, you got the cliff in this one, and the guy almost going off the cliff, like la-di-da, la-di-da, woo-hoo-hoo. You often commonly see like the kind of the stick with the bag on it, dog biting at the feet of his guy, just merely walking, unknowing of what's going to happen, oblivious. Those are all things that happen with the Fool. There's also this joyful easiness of life that can come with him. So when you're working with this card, you have to look at how you're seeing it within you. And that sometimes can be difficult to see those aspects of how something's showing up. So like if this is your life card or a year card, it can be really good to go through things and look at how they observe and how you observe, and you're like, that made no sense. And how you bring it in. How can you be willing to change if the Fool's a primary card for you? How can you be willing to learn and seek new knowledge? How can you not be the naive, kind of willful, ignorant jerk who's just like, I'm going to jump off the cliff because you told me not to. Ouch. Do you want to be that kind of fool, or do you want to have that beginner's mind? That keen eagerness to learn. And for me, one of the things that I have found working over the years with the Fool is that keen eagerness to learn is one of the things that's one of the most brilliant parts of this card. Alrighty, everyone. Have a wonderful day, and go out there and be the love in the world.